Welcome back to another episode of the Woven Connections podcast. I just had to start this over because I didn't remember Keeley's last name. I'm a bit of a rookie
Like
here.
friendship, like 7 years in the baking.
I'm so bad with names. And you'd think like before a podcast episode, I would at least double check on the person's name. But here we are. So
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast, my friend. I'm so happy to have you here. You are like one of the funniest humans I've ever met. And I just wanted to have somebody hilarious and fun and just easygoing for my first guest ever on the podcast. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This has been in my calendars. You know my calendars.
Yeah, your
I'm
multiple
ready for this.
calendars.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell
I'm so
everybody
organized.
about your calendar system you have going on?
Okay, yes, I will. I have hi, my name is Keeley. I have multiple calendars on my desk at all times. I have 2023, 2024, a 3-month calendar, a 1-month calendar, and then I have and I just ripped start a new week, my Hello Kitty desk calendar,
Oh my
and I
goodness.
have 2 calendars on my phone, one for personal, one for work. Um, because if I don't write it down, it doesn't exist. It doesn't count. It's not real.
So you like to be organized, to say the least.
I identify as someone who is organized. I don't know if that is like a true, authentic categorization of my tendencies, but I want to be. And also, like, there's so many, with just my job, it'll be like I'm going to a bar next week to film stuff with someone. If I don't write that down, then I come to that day, open day. What am I like? Am I getting into my pajama or getting
You're
out
like,
of my
oh, beach
pajamas?
day.
Never. Yeah.
No, I have the biggest calendar on my wall, and it's been
Oh,
such
yeah.
a game changer for me because I can't do it in my phone because then I have to go in every day and then you can't see the full week. There's something about being able to see like a full week and a full month, I feel like is so helpful.
Yeah. I'm very much like a visual person. So like the month calendar didn't do it enough for me because like it got to like 30 and I was like, and nothing exists past 30, like, and it's done.
You're like,
Like
that's the year.
the that she's over. And then I'm like, oh wait, I have to start at the first of the month again, and then I have to like remember. So and then I rotate my 1 month in from my 3 months, and then I reset those based off the year. You'd think it would be like immaculate organization. No, I still forget all the time, constantly. But with like markets, you don't know, like, there is a market, and then there is a market, then there is a market every weekend for like 2 months.
Oh, it's
And
crazy.
if you don't go to the right one, like, you're in Saanich and you're supposed to be in like Duncan, like, it's over.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
But yeah, so for the listeners, we're kind of just
Oh yeah.
taking off. But for those who don't know you, do you want to? We met each other at one of the markets just for how
Yes.
we met. What was that? Probably like 6, 7 years ago, which is
Do you
crazy.
I remember like Cinderella story. I'm I Lucas Scott, One Tree Hill, that actor, and you're Hilary Duff
Oh, I
walking down
love
the
Hillary.
stairs with the mask, and I'm like, who's that girl? That's my girl. I don't recognize her. I remember the moment I
Was
met
there like
you.
a spotlight on me and I had a little like
Yeah.
tiara like shimmering?
I just like looked over, and there you were, putting your bracelets down, making everything look so cute, and I was just like, I'm obsessed. Done.
That
I'm
is
in
so
love.
hilarious.
Do you remember which market it was?
It was, I think it was First Chance in Sydney. Yeah, because I remember I came in and you were my neighbor and you were like talking to people and you were super bubbly. And I remember just being like, this girl is like really cool. And yeah, I just thought you were like super bubbly, outgoing, fun. And I think I don't know if I think you introduced yourself to me. And
Probably.
yeah, we just like
I'm
kind of started to hit it off and joke around and here we are years
I think
later.
the thing, like, I remember about you, and I think that this is something that market vendor life, there's certain kinds of people. You meet all kinds of people, and the thing that I loved about you is that your stuff was all handled. You were setting up everything. You were chill. your stuff was beautiful. You obviously had a lot of talent and skill, but you were not taking yourself insanely seriously. Like I think I had to run like a extension cord through your booth, and
Yeah.
like the fear I felt being like, I have to ask to invade her space. She could just say no, and then I don't have an extension. Or like she could just be like, no. But you were like, of course, so friendly, and just like obviously you had your stuff and you were like so put together, but you weren't taking yourself too seriously. Like you were still like having fun. And I was like, this is okay, this is my girl. Like this is gonna work. Yeah.
Got to be easygoing, especially at markets. I feel like the more you can work together, because even just those little things like lighting and setting up your booths, like if you're super uptight about it, it becomes a nightmare. And then you have to like be neighbors all weekend long and it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. The like unspoken, I feel like the unspoken navigating space with other vendors, without like spilling tea and like naming names is there is a there is a dance we all do when you're like, it's 6 a.m. on Thursday. We have like 3 10-hour days to do where we have to be on and like cute and fun. But right now, like I am like sweating and like this is my booth, or like someone is in my booth, or like this isn't the table that I wanted, or it's all perfect and you're distressed because you had to find parking. And it's just like, I think the greatest lesson I've learned from the markets is like, it's all small stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
none of it, it's never that deep. None of it was ever worth the fight. It was never like worth the miscommunication.
Yeah.
It's never that deep. And but like you feel it like so much when you're at the markets and it's like you're stressed out. You just
Yeah,
like,
even just like up until that go time. And I think I wanted to bring you on here to give our listeners like a little glimpse into the market world, because it's such a big part of both what I do and what you do. And actually, if you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and tell about like what you do for work, maybe we can talk about the company that you work for and what you actually do
yeah.
so people know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'll try and keep it so brief because it could be so complicated. I work for a vermouth and aperitif company called Esquimalt Vermouth and Aperitifs. We are based obviously in Esquimalt. We're a really cute team of four, and I do the marketing, communications, event coordinating, community liaison. I am the resident extrovert is really what it is. Like I'm the one who does like exactly what you said. I'll just say hi first. I'll come
Yeah,
in like guns a blazing. I'm just that sort of like glue in between. If you're talking to me on social media, if you're talking to a Squimalt Vermouth, hit us up,
that's
follow,
so that's
follow,
you.
like,
If
subscribe.
they're like
That's
talking to
me.
the company, that's you.
That'll be me. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's I love it. I really love it. I met Quinn and Michaela, the owners, also at a Christmas market years and
Okay.
years ago. And I said to them at some point, I walked up to them and I was like, I'm gonna work for you one day.
Just called the shot.
I I was like, yeah, I love you guys. I love what you do. I really respect you. I think you're doing something that no one else really does, and you're also nailing it. And
Hmm.
you're just kind of like good people. So I'm gonna work for you one day. And I would
Amazing.
just say that. I would see them at Christmas markets and I would just be like, one day, when you're ready,
Like, I'm just
let
waiting
me
on your
know.
call any day now.
I'm waiting. And I was saying like I wanted like a permanent job because I was doing markets. So markets are seasonal.
Yes.
So my like mid-October to December for years was always full doing markets for other people. And I was like, whenever you're ready, like full-time hire, it's gonna be me. Like I am the one for the job. I know I am. And I'm just waiting. And every time they were like, like
Like, whoa.
so bold. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. But I am, and you'll love me, like you won't
Yeah.
regret it. And coming up on a year and no reported regrets so far. So
Amazing. Yeah, no,
yeah.
they found a gem with you. I feel like you're the perfect person for a market. I wish I would have found you actually. That would have been pretty nice.
My background is alcohol. Like I love you, obviously, if you ever want me to jump in. But my background is alcohol. That is my industry of choice, so it really just fit.
Yeah, that's perfect. And you have your own little Instagram page with like your cocktails and stuff. I love it. It's the cutest thing ever. And the drinks look so good.
Thank you. That like little insider, like be behind the scenes for all the cocktails. I would make these recipes. I have all of them. Like I plan out all the cocktails and then filming days for Sunshine, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. I'm filming these cocktails. I'm in my like
Wow.
I'm in my little house. I'm filming and then it like I, done and then I'm just like there's like 6 jars of alcohol and I would just put them into little jam jars and like leave them in the fridge because like I can't start drinking at 6 a.m. Like that's so it was always like I wake up at like 5 like ready.
Just ready to go, ready to like make some
Yeah.
drinks.
Yeah.
What a good way to start the day.
Honestly, it wasn't bad.
It'd be
Yeah.
hard to not have one, like right off the bat.
Yeah, it was definitely like I think the first couple times I was doing it, I would drink them because obviously I made these beautiful cocktails. And then you're like, it's 7 and I'm already buzzed and I have the rest of the day and it's just like there's day drinking and then there's like morning and it's a whole thing. So I treat it when I'm creating content, when I'm creating like recipes or art like that, I treat it as the job. That's the job
Mhm.
I'm doing. And when the job is done, then I get to indulge in sort of the treats or like the outcomes of the job
I love
just
that.
to separate. Yeah.
You gotta have your boundaries.
Yeah. I'm so good at boundaries.
Your favorite thing.
Yeah. Notorious boundary girl. That's what they say. Yeah. So respectful, on time. Yeah.
You are though. So let's talk about the markets because I feel like the markets are hilarious and people probably don't really know a lot about what goes on behind the scenes and even just like setup and load in and I don't know, simple things like bathroom breaks and I don't like there can be like the gossip around and all of it, right? Like there's just so much at markets that I feel like unless you're somebody who does them regularly, I mean, that's like anything really, right? Like unless when you're in any kind of profession or career, like it ends up having its own kind of culture and things going on that people who are in it
Yeah.
only understand. But what would you say is like your favorite thing about doing markets?
It's the people. Like the customers, yes, it's really cool to meet new customers, but it really the vendors are are the people that you come back for. Like it's like I feel like it's summer camp where
Yeah.
like I won't speak to you during the year. Who are you during the year? Might not even recognize you. But once you step behind your little 10 by 10 with your lights and your little like accoutrement, whatever you're selling, then I know exactly who you are. I remember. And it's summer camp and it's so fun and cute and it's just like the oddest characters. Like the
Mm-hmm.
range of people that you meet is incredible.
It is
Yeah, like
incredible.
yeah.
So many different like just different personalities and it's cool to see what people are making and selling and yeah, it's weird how it can go you can go so long like a whole winter season without well, I guess it would be Christmas season and then it's like you'll go 3-4 months without seeing anybody and then when it starts up again it's like hey and you just pick up where you left off. And it's almost like one big family, but weird how kind of in the off months we don't really like talk or keep touch. It's like
No,
everybody understands that that's like our hibernation time to
yeah,
be recharging and like restocking everything for the next season. So, yeah. But like
totally.
what a time, hey? Like I just feel
Yeah.
like the long hours that go into it and we don't have like breaks, we don't have an hour lunch that we take unless you have something that comes in and steps in for you, which is always nice, but it can be a grind, right?
Yeah, I think like it's the serving job style of
Mhm.
just long hours in like high levels of customer service. At the end, like when we were talking earlier, like at the end of the market, like after those 10 hours and it's like 3:57 and the market closes at 4, like my shoes are off, my makeup is like sliding down my face, like I'm about to cry because I'm so tired, right? Like my bladder is full, my heart is empty, like I just want to go home. And you just
So
like
true.
you sleep at a market, like day 2 sleep at a market is like vampire like clothes still on, like makeup still on. You are so tired.
So tired.
It's so hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's
And it's
long
eating
days.
your heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be like on, to be energetically like talking to people the entire day, conversing and multiple people, you just have to be on all day. Oh yeah, and I wanted to get you, you should do our little spiel for us. Like what's your market spiel? Because I feel like everybody has their thing. Of course, like you kind of find out after a while what works best for you in terms of
Yeah.
like you want to do a quick little hi, like how's it going, and you want people to know what you're selling, but you're not gonna every single person go into like 2 paragraphs of detail because you're gonna burn
Yeah.
yourself out. So I feel like we all over time kind of nail our little like hello, this is who I am, what, give us your all, give us your
Okay.
market
So
spiel.
the little like pre prelude leading up is vermouth, if you've ever heard of it, is a very specific type of alcohol. It is kind of unknown to a lot of people, and if you don't know about it or you don't want to know about it, that's a very specific person. And also alcohol for me, I'm not gonna push, like I'm not like the like you have to try this right now. Like I'm that's not my style either because I find that very uncomfortable. And I'm a very
Mhm.
extroverted person, and I know that I can extend into other people's territory, like personal, like very easily, because I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, like, oh, let's become best friends, and they're like, oh, it's too much. So for and it's also, and I know it's the voice. You go like, it's the server voice, like, hi, welcome, thank you so much. Like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Like, hope you're doing well. Have a good day. Oh, parking. Oh my God, thank you so much. Like, and it's you
Why do we
come,
do
it,
that?
oh,
I hate
can't
it.
turn it
Like,
off.
why do we just all of a sudden go from being a normal human to like, hi, like, this is my jewelry. I make it myself. Welcome. If you have
Yeah.
any questions, let me know.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, if
Yeah.
if you if you have any questions, you're
Like,
like,
oh, let me
if you
know.
have any questions,
And then, like, I don't know if you do this, but I'll be kind of behind my table and then I'll try to like pretend like I'm doing something
like
else so that people don't feel like I'm like in
that,
their face. So I'm like
like working away.
pretending to write down notes on a sheet, but it's actually just like all these dots and lines.
Yeah, yeah. You're like doing like you're like painting, like the like I think that's always the secret
I
move
have like a
when the
thousand piece
vendors are like
puzzle.
making their thing and they're like doing it and then they're just like I'm doing my thing, like you look at my stuff, but I'm like doing it and you're like, "Oh, yeah." Then you're safe. You can
Yes.
peruse. I'm very like I think I treat it as this is how I would want to be approached if I was
Mhm.
the customer coming into the booth, where like I want to look at everything. Like I don't, you are talking, I just want to perceive. So I do like a very quick like, hey, if you want to try any vermouth, or like, oh, we're the world's best. Shout out, we're the world's best
World
vermouth. We
best. You should
won the
try.
award. So if you want to try, you have any questions? And then I kind of like let them look, get a sense. Because also, like, some of the markets start like 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to push you to drink at 9 a.m. If you want to
That's
drink,
true for liquor.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
but
never thought about
I'm not
that
going
for
to
like
push.
mornings at a market with
Yeah.
alcohol. Yeah. That's kind of a
Well,
different ball game.
and farmers markets too, right? Like, some of them start at like 8, and you're
Yeah.
just like, what's up? I'm just hanging out, just saying hi,
Yeah.
here for the vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's definitely reading, being able to read people. You definitely learn that over time. And
Yeah.
I find it even funny when people come up and right away, like you'll just say hi to them and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm just looking. I'm just looking." And you can tell, at markets like sometimes people are already feel, I don't know if the right word is like on the defense because you
Yeah.
can get that like if it's too in their face, they get a little bit overwhelmed and they just want to browse and be kind of not sold to. So I think learning how to just step back, give people the right amount of information, and then let them browse and ask questions if they need to is it's a good way to go, but takes some time to
Yeah.
learn. And it's just funny, like interacting with people and the conversations you have with strangers ends up being
Yeah.
so interesting. Like the amount of even just heartfelt, like things that people will share with you. I've had people where we end up like crying and like having a big hug, like I never thought that even with my jewelry that there could be such meaningful exchanges between people, whether it's like I've had people who are looking for pieces for like dying loved ones, and like,
Oh,
or people who've had people pass away in their lives and then they're wanting something to remind them of that person to gift to another family member. And yeah, people just opening up about that, and it can get pretty heartfelt and emotional, and those ones are meaningful, like it gets you right in the heart. So it can be
yeah.
very deep as well, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if you get that with alcohol where people are like
I don't know if anyone's cried at the booth, but I've had people go like, I haven't had vermouth since my grandparents. That's like a
mm,
very common one. And so it always, I feel like vermouth ties to memories.
yeah.
It's always going to be like, oh, I had vermouth like 20 years ago and it tasted awful. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like I'm here with you. I bet it probably did. Like come try. But it's also like, and what you were speaking to is you have this like beautiful moment with a customer and it's so like engaging and like maybe you're crying, it's like so beautiful. And then like 16 more people are coming into your booth trying to look at things. Like it's a very,
Oh
I
yeah.
find them over, it's always an overstimulating experience. And I think about that with like when you're a customer coming in, like you never know vendor to vendor like what you're gonna get. You have
Mhm.
no idea. And it's always, I try and keep that in mind. Like when they come around the corner and they like see you and you're like,
You're like, hey.
hey, and they're like trying to like in their brain like figure out because the last vendor that they had was chocolate and the one before that was soap and the one before that was like I've seen like a guy was making armor right at one of the markets we used to go to, like he was making like beautiful like
Oh, I've
chest
seen
piece
those. Those were
mantle
cool.
and like so you never know what you're gonna get, and I try and keep that in mind with customers as they're coming in and they're like trying to just like figure out what in the world you are, if
Mhm.
they want to try it, like if there's somewhere they want to be, like it's always such a jarring experience and you just kind of want to be like, hey, like you're good. You don't want to try alcohol, you're good. Like it's safe, you're good.
Yeah.
Come in if you want, like walk by if you want, like because you know like they're huge. Some of the ones we've done are massive.
They're massive, and even just to be there as set like the vendor, it's one thing to be in your own little bubble where you're not leaving it, and then to be experiencing all the people coming through and passing by you, but to be on the other side of it too and going through some of these shows, it is a lot to take in terms of all the products. And yeah, there's a lot to see at some of these shows.
Yeah. And you probably have this too because you've got people who are doing your booths for you. There is there is an art to training someone to do a market with you.
Yeah.
There is such a, you want to be pushy to the point of getting your point across, but not so much that you're like hostile or invasive,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, like they're gonna do a lap, they're probably gonna come back. If they want to try your stuff, like not a lot is gonna stop them. But like that training, I like because I used to train vendor like market booth people. The number one thing I'd say is like they're experiencing your booth probably for the first time.
Mhm.
Their questions that they're asking for the first time. You've heard it 600 times.
Yeah.
This is your and you, but you have to treat it like it's the first time you're hearing it because it's the first time they're asking it. And like, oh, like yes, it's got this in it. Like, yes, it's alcohol. Like it's their first, like that's their, and you're like, yes, I've heard it 600 times, but like for them, it's the first time they're asking it. So like treat it like it's the first time and like wash it off because like that's the impression that they're gonna have, right? And
Yeah,
like
and to
so you
try to
want that
get
where
back
they're
to
like,
that, like, blank slate every single time after you talk to one customer, and then to kinda wipe that clean and treat the next person as it's their first experience coming to your booth. It can be challenging to do that. And
it's
then
such an art,
you
it's
feel
so
like you're
hard.
being repetitive, right? And especially that's where, like, for your neighbors, like, I know sometimes I've even apologized to my neighbors. I'm like, "I'm so sorry you've heard this line or this spiel, like, a million times over." I think we all end up doing that to each other, but it's just how it goes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember I like because you from the first place that I worked, where I was just the same, like lines, 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 always quips, always lines. And I can't remember I can't remember which market was at, but it was one of my first ones. So it was, like stepping into my power, like stepping into my space of it. And one of the vendors beside me would mock the lines that I was doing.
Oh
I was just
no.
repeating the ones that my boss taught me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out like what works for me and like what style like feels comfortable. And I just remember like, and I'm like no naming names, but like her and her partner just like mocking them back. And I was like so uncomfortable and just so embarrassed. And I just remember being
Oh,
like so like, oh yeah, it's so lame that I'm doing this. It's so it's so uncool that I don't have an original line for every person. And I remember that, and I took that and made it into like a training point when I was training other like attendees. Was like pay them no mind, pay no one no mind. Like you do what makes you feel comfortable. Like you have to give 100% to every customer. So like if you can bring 100 to 1,000 people for a whole weekend, that is amazing. You do that. But if you can bring 60
yeah.
to 1,000 people, that's incredible. And if it has to be the same line,
Yeah.
like, oh, it's wine o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wine o'clock. Like someone comes around, you're like, it's wine o'clock. Someone
Yeah.
comes around, it's wine o'clock. If you and you can do that, like no shame in your game. Like we are all here trying our best and just like taking I feel like to be
The judgment
successful,
almost.
yeah, and just like
Fear of judgment.
fear of judgment. What is have you heard the line? I feel like I live and die by this. Um, don't kill the cringy part in you, kill the part that cringes.
Oh, I like that. That
If you
is
have
so
no idea.
good.
That's an internet line. That's like a Tumblr line for sure. But it's just like, yeah, I'm probably super embarrassing to you. But like, if you're gonna do that, like, you're not my people. I don't have to worry. I'm doing my thing, and like, the people who like it, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. But I think that is part of market lifestyle. Is like you are cringe. There are cringy parts of you that you have to embrace, and
Yeah.
like, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to like carry all your own stuff like up to your booth, and like you're miserable and you have to like be silly and like be fun and happy to like get back into selling again and like
Yeah.
be in that moment and be cringe. Just
Yeah, I agree. And it
be
doesn't matter.
silly.
Like, the more you can set yourself free from thinking about what others are thinking, like, you're there to do a job. And if you can just show up the way that you need to, you're going to be the one that goes to bed feeling good about that.
Yeah.
So I like that
Yeah.
line a lot.
And you'll find your people, right? Like you'll people who are embarrassed by me, they're not for me. That's okay. Quinn and Michaela loved it, right? Like I called my shot with them years ago. I've been silly, memorable, audacious, like whatever like great compliments you want to give me.
All
But
of
they
them.
loved it. And like they right and that worked for them. They like believed in it. And so be cringe. Like I think that's the best market advice. Just like you do you, like you'll find it. I think it's the same with social media. Like just
Even for life, I like just
yeah,
that concept for life, because I think we hold ourselves back so much because we think that something's going to be cringe to other people, or we think it's going to be embarrassing, and a lot of our actions we're acting out of a place of fearing other people's judgment, and we end up just holding back in so many ways. I've in my life been such a people pleaser, and so I feel like even just the last 2-3 years, I've been really challenging myself to just put myself out there, like, this is who I am, not be like holding back as much. And it can be hard to do, especially if you've acted a certain way your whole life, right? But I know when I see people and they're just going for it and they're just being themselves and they don't care, like, I love that. I love seeing other
yeah.
people being like that. And I'm like, man, I want to be more like that. So,
I think we talked about it before, like the OOTD girlies, like outfit of the day girlies.
yeah.
Jealousy. It's just jealousy. It's just love. I'm watching you do it. I'm obsessed with you. I love it. I think that to be able to do that in public and just be like, I am who I am,
Hmm.
like this is it. If you don't like it, don't look at it. I respect it so much. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, you got to like live for yourself and live with
Yeah.
what feels right to you, right? And I feel like that's another thing about you that I respect so much. You've always given off that vibe. And like whether you're outdoors doing your thing, that's another thing I wanted to mention to listeners is how outdoorsy
Out.
you are and just your appreciation of nature, because that's something in my life that's really important and that I think we all need to maybe get back to a bit more, is like spending time in nature and just how much it has to offer us. So do you want to talk a little bit about like just all the activities you like to do outside and your cold
My
plunges, ocean dips, all of that stuff?
uh, yeah, I bought actually my bathing suit is sitting over on my bed. After this, I'm gonna go. My best friend and I do weekly cold plunges.
Like
Um,
throughout the
it's
entire winter too?
Yeah, we do it. We've done it. We've now done it like coming up a year and a half. We just like find time at some point during the week. She's an incredible tattoo artist. Maria is her
Oh,
name. You can find
shout
her on my
out.
social media. Best tattoo artist in town ever. I love her. She's an incredible artist. I'm so lucky to have her as my friend.
Aw,
But I'll start to cry if I think about her too much.
that's
Um,
so sweet.
she is, yeah, she's just a baddie. So we do, yeah, every week, and we find like different kind of weird little spots, and I am obsessed with cold plunge. I know it's the trend. It's cringy to be on trend. I'm on trend. It's so fun. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like it's often depicted as just this like very, how do I do this really nicely? Like, oh, like plunge,
Like,
like
oh,
so
gotta get through it.
Oh, and it's like it's very I don't know, I think it's very masculine and scary, and the sort of like stereotype of it is very um what's the word? Um
Like tough, kind of
Tough.
like a
There's
tough
the
vibe,
word where like it's like min-maxing but for your body. Um
like pushing things to the limits.
it's like a term for someone who's listening to this podcast and who's screaming the answer. It's like min-maxing, which is a D&D term, um, but it's for your body and like your health, and it's just this way of sort of approaching the people approach cold plunging. That's not how I approach it at all, obviously. I am very silly with it, and it's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my bestie and I started doing it just honestly, I think we started doing it on her birthday, and that was just what she wanted to do, is just me and her partner, and we went out into the water, and then we kept doing it, and now we're up to like 28 minutes in the water
28
of
minutes?
swimming. Yeah, that's
And
the
like
longest we go.
in the winter time?
In the winter time, February is the worst. But I could not do it without her. Do not do that alone. That is an unsafe thing to do by yourself. If you're going to plunge, I would recommend starting with people. There's Departure Bay here in Nanaimo. There's people who do it all the time. It looks like a really great community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's so fun. It's How do I describe it whenever I talk about it? I say like you go in the water and it feels awful. It's so painful, like everything, like like cold plunge, so tough, and then it becomes so silly. And then it
Yeah.
becomes the silliest thing you've ever done, and you are laughing, and it is ridiculous, and it is February, and it is raining, and you are in the water. We have the booties, like the little booties, and we do the gloves now, just
I was just
because
gonna say because the booties would be
game
necessary.
changer.
'Cause I go in
Yeah,
I usually start going like May through September, and my feet freeze. Like I can't, like that pain, the foot nerve, almost that nerve pain you get from like
yeah.
extreme cold. I would not be able to do that without the little booties.
Booties are required. I think we've had the booties for like a few months now. We just got the gloves. Gloves are good. Um, you don't need them, but the booties are required. But it's so fun. It's chaotic, and it's so like it's just silly. And there's like I just say like if you're starting out, stay like don't you have to don't have to time yourself. Like you don't have to compare yourself to anyone. Like you do you. but stay in the water until it becomes silly.
Yeah.
As soon as it becomes ridiculous and you can laugh at yourself for this like hilarious weird thing that you're doing, you're good. Then like you don't have to prove yourself, like don't have shame in your game. Start wherever you want to start. But it feels so incredible. It's so
Yeah.
good.
And like what would you say are the main reasons that you like to do it? Is it like just for the silliness, or for you is it like the health benefits? Because I know there's all about the regulate or strengthening kind of the immune system, and there's all of those
Hmm.
like the health benefits behind cold plunging that everyone's talking about. What would you say is your main like driving factor?
I mean, but my number one is it is a sort of dedication to seeing my best friend once a week. That is the gift of all gifts.
Hmm.
If the ocean could talk, she would report back the absolute filth tea that we are spewing while you're screaming in the water. That is the number one, is just being able to like, as an adult, like make time for this person that you love and spend time with them. But underneath that, and it's kind of what I said earlier, it makes everything so small. Like
Yeah.
all the things I can make mountains out of moleholes, I think is the saying. I can make a mountain out of anything. And you go and you get in the water and it's overwhelming and it shocks your system and you have to like mentally stay in the water and you have to overcome that like, oh, get out, it's cold, it's bad for me, it's not, you're gonna be okay, you can regulate your body. And I think it's just that like that everything is small, like
Yeah, like
if
it puts
you're
things
good,
into perspective in a sense.
yeah, you're just literally a little drop in the water. It's not
Mhm.
that deep. The ocean's deep. Your shit's not that deep. Your stuff's not that deep.
Yeah. It's okay. You can swear on here.
Thank you, thank you. And I think that helps me so much is I lose perspective so quickly,
Yeah,
and
it
that
can be
just like
hard,
helps.
right? Like just
Yeah,
you can so easily get wrapped up in your own stuff and in your own mind. I think that's what I love so much about getting out in nature. And even I love doing ocean dips all summer long. I'd like to do them year round. Maybe you'll be my new inspiration.
it's fun.
But just being able to like detach and be a part of something bigger and be in nature, I think is so important. It just brings you back to like a more realistic place. It gets you out of
Yep.
that cyclic, like in your head, just kind of obsessing over certain thoughts, and it grounds you, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, it kind
Oh
of makes you
yeah.
realize, like, okay, this, like, the stuff in my head's like not as big as I think as it is. And
It's all
yeah,
good. It's
yeah,
manageable, everything. Like, and you feel it, right? Like you feel everything so intently and strong. And then you do this thing and you're like, it's good. It's manageable. Like we're safe, we're fine. We can
yeah.
handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, nature is the best. There's so
It
much we can take
yeah.
from nature and learn from nature and benefit from. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just love talking to anybody who appreciates nature and has that as part of their lifestyle, because it's it makes me sad like how disconnected I feel like we're becoming as a society to nature. I think it's kind of going both ways where people are trying more to get back into it, but just with social media and everything, and like the amount of time that we're now spending on our phones, and um yeah, I just feel like we're not getting outside the way. I don't know about you. Like, how did you grow up? Because I grew up outside all the time. I was playing
Yeah.
outdoors with all the neighbor kids. We were always biking around. We were camping all the time as a family. Did you kind of grow up the same way?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time. I grew up, so Vancouver Island, I grew up in Bowser, which is like a tiny drive-by little community in between Qualicum and Buckley Bay, like heading to Courtney. And I
Cool.
listened to your podcast episodes too to prepare, and I
Cool.
was listening to you and I was like, oh yeah, same. Like it was just outside, growing up outside, like you just that was the default, was like go, like the like go and come home before it gets dark kind of thing, like very similar. And it was
Yeah.
just like how it was.
Yeah. Those, like, I'm so grateful for that kind of a childhood.
And I think it's hard now because obviously social media and like the way, as someone who does social media for work, like I have to check out. Like it's done now. Like when I am done, like the work I have, because I could scroll forever. Oh,
Yeah.
I could go forever. Like, and you have to like make that decision, and it's hard. And I don't think that, like I said, like with even the pole plunging, I have my girly, I have my bestie. I don't think I'd be able to do that without her. It wouldn't be
Hmm.
nearly as fun, but just having someone hold you accountable. And so I
Yeah,
think if you're feeling like you want to go outside a little bit more, like get an accountability buddy. If you're an online girly like me, there's the term body doubling, where you like
okay.
work and you have like your friend on a call with you and you're not talking, but you're both just working. And it's to kind of like, for a lot of us who work from home, it recreates the office space and
I
just like,
like
oh, I
that.
can't like mess around. I'm like doing my work or I'm getting my tasks done. And like I try and do that with like going outside is like I have to be accountable for going outside. I have to get my butt out there because it as soon as I do I feel better. As soon as like it's so much better. I calm down. It's like like the buzzing, everything, it just comes right down. So you have
Yeah.
to like work at that. Like you have to create that habit that you want and like easier said than done, but you got to try.
Yeah, no, and I like your concept of like being able to do that with a friend. That makes it a lot more enjoyable too, and like bonding for that relationship. For me, it's also my dogs. Like, I think having
Oh yeah.
dogs is such a blessing in that way because they get you outside more. Like, for me, if there's a day where I don't take them for a walk, I feel so bad about it. So
Yeah.
they just naturally get me outside more regularly too. Um, but yeah, I just think it's so important and I want to do more of it. I'm so excited that spring and summer are here almost. And I just can't wait to go camping. Do you have any
Yeah.
exciting like summer plans this year?
I do. I have my family's from Hornby and I have two weddings there. So my cousin's getting married and then one of my like longest friends is getting married, and so I get to go to Hornby twice and see my family and be just unruly on the island, and I'm
Fun.
very excited. Yes.
That'll be
What about
so
you? What are you
fun.
doing?
My partner and I we're going to Ireland because my good friend is getting married in May. So we're
Oh
going there
no.
for 10 days. I'm so excited. I've always wanted to go for the longest time. So yeah, I can't wait.
Where in Ireland are you going?
She's kind of near Dublin. It's like a small town, I think, called Nass or something. But we're gonna tour around down to like Killarney and do a big hike there. I forget the name of the mountain, and then we're gonna go back up to like the cliffs of Moher, and then spend some time in Dublin. And I just can't wait. I'm gonna drink so much Guinness and
Yeah,
get myself some stew.
there you go.
Yeah, and then what else? I think
And then there's going to
summertime
be
just
the
kind of cruising
Ireland
around.
jewelry drop, and there's going to be
Yeah,
the Ireland
with like
series.
little lucky charms on each bracelet. Could you imagine? That would be so funny.
Honestly, like I think that would be pretty cute.
Like, could be cute, especially if I did it around St. Patrick's Day next year.
Oh, I love Ireland. I've been twice.
You
I
have
am
been.
obsessed with it. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pick
You
your brain a
were,
little bit after this because
yeah.
yeah, I want to hear more about your time there and maybe any recommendations you have for me.
I'm obsessed with it. That is the like place that I am a cold weather girly.
Mm-hmm.
I fair skin, Campbell, so obviously Scottish background. I cold weather layers. Oh,
Yes.
that's me. That's for me.
Oh, I also love like cold weather and fall being like bundled up. But the weather out here with the long winters and the rain and the gloom, that's a little bit hard. Not gonna lie.
The like Edward Cullen gray every day is like a little hard to like get through, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially months on end.
Yeah, well, I think that like cycling back to what you're saying about nature, like I think like seasonal depression is just like such a common experience here. Like I think I genuinely think that's just like a default setting in the
Yeah.
winters here, gray every day, that like you have to like really make time for your mental health and like for the things that you can do in the winter to make you feel better, and like it's you have to like really choose those things because you don't want to go outside. It looks awful. It feels awful. Like it's miserable gray. Like muddy, neutral
Wet,
tones.
rainy. Yeah.
Yeah, but
What would
you
be
gotta
like
make
some of
those
those things
habits.
that you do like during the winter that you find makes a difference for you to get through those tougher months?
Oh, well, I mean, cold plunging always, obviously, but I'm really lucky to have a lot of green space where I live. So I have waterproof pants and I have like the Paddington Bear like jacket and then I have the like fisherman's hat with the like thing on the back, like you
Just full
know,
coverage.
I can't say, this podcast or an audio medium, and I'm just saying, like
For
the
people
hat
listening,
and
she's waving her hands over her head.
yeah. Like I just have the like waterproof setup and I'll like put my just like all my gear on and like I have the overalls and I'll just
I've
go and
seen
I just get out there because it's like it is the thing that will like calm me down or like bring me back to zero. It's just like getting outside, like getting out to the water, getting into the water probably because it's a main character moment to go swimming in the rain. Just just being out there. And I'm not even like I wouldn't even identify as like an incredibly active person. I don't like I'm not an uphill girly,
an
like
uphill
my
girl.
you know? Like
Yeah,
people are
yeah,
like, that's not a hike, that's a walk. And I'm like, okay, then I love a walk. That's
yeah,
fun. Like, and
yeah,
I love a walk. I don't have to, like, I love pushing myself, sure, from time to time, but like, I could walk for hours.
yeah,
I
but you're
could
not
just,
needing to like go and get like intense cardio in on the regular and
no, I don't have to prove myself to nobody. Like, if I want
yeah,
to get stronger, that's my watch. But like,
yeah,
just getting outside, like, if you get outside, that's a win, right? Like, give
totally. Yeah.
yourself achievable goals. Like again, cringe for who, embarrassment for who. Like get your Paddington, like OOTD, get your little Paddington bear fit on and come
Yeah.
outside. Like that's it. Then you did it and like check mark, congratulations, you had a great day. There you go. Like you don't, like it doesn't have to be,
Yeah, it doesn't have
it
to
can just
be like
be,
this grind every day or like I think
yeah,
that's also another thing that I'm learning is like what works for me, you know? Like
yeah,
it can get so confusing out there, like all of these things that we should be doing and especially social media, like I've really had to limit my time on there because it can just get so overwhelming seeing what everybody else is doing and then it starts to make you
yeah,
feel bad about yourself and starts giving you thoughts in your head of oh I should be doing more of that but really just coming back to yourself and what makes you happy. I think that's what it's all about.
yeah. Wait, what about you? What about your puppies? Are they West Coast, Wet Coast puppies? You know how some dogs like they like can't go outside and they put their little paw and they're like, it's
Like,
raining, I
so
can't.
actually, both my dogs don't really like getting wet, and they're not. It's actually kind of nice with, especially if I take them by the ocean, because they don't really go in. They'll kind of go up to their
Oh
legs,
yeah.
but they're not wanting to swim around a bunch, which I kind of like because then I don't have to deal with like two wet dogs all the time. As for walks, yeah, I have little rain jackets for both of them. So
Mm.
I just put those on them and we get out every day. Like if it's really really bad in the winter sometimes we'll just play ball in the house but yeah even when it's raining I'll take them out on walks and just put their little coats on them and they're happy and yeah they
That's so
actually look so cute
cute.
too in their little coats when they're
Okay, we
like
want
walking side
that
by side.
padding along. We need a
Yeah,
little photo of the puppies out in the rain with their little jackets on.
yeah, they're so cute. But yeah, um, did you have like anything else? I know we've just been talking a lot about like
Oh yeah, we could
random
talk
life
forever.
stuff, which has
Yeah.
been fun. Do you have
Okay.
anything like super important that you want to share with the listeners in terms of just like something maybe special you want to leave with people?
Something special. I think I'll shout out. I'll do maybe two. I'll do one work, one professional, one unprofessional. I'm doing a with my boss a master class at the Nanoose Bay Cascadia,
Oh,
and it's going
cool.
to be on April 25th. Yeah, check both April 25th. And so if you want to come learn about vermouth, aperitif wines, or just if you want to just ask any question, I promise you will never feel any judgment from me. I will always start at zero with you. Like we can learn together if you want to come find that out. That's a little professional plug.
And also,
Find
where
me on
can
social
people
media.
find like that your
Oh yeah.
company online if people want to look it up and see what events you'll be
We're
doing?
We're a Squy Malt vermouth. We are the only people making vermouth in a Squy Malt, so just that's an easy way to go. If you honestly, if you just Google Vancouver Island vermouth, I'm pretty sure we'll just come up from that too. Find me on social media. You can come talk to me on there. And
Yeah.
then I think again the unprofessional thing, just like it's not that serious. It's okay,
Mhm.
have some fun. Just like I think that's like my little advice. I always take everything so seriously, and I always wear everything on my sleeve, and I just feel everything so big. So if I can give myself permission to water off a duck's back, it's not
Mhm.
that deep. I can give that to you as well. Like have a little fun, silly, safe time enjoying your life.
I love that. Yeah, just be a little
Yeah,
more silly.
be a little
That's
more
what life,
silly.
yeah, I really like
Yeah,
that. I'm gonna take that into my day and just
there you
maybe
go.
I'm gonna get outside in the backyard and roll around in my raincoat because I think it's gonna be rainy today. Get a little silly
No,
back
really.
there.
It is sunshine where I am. I am so
What?
happy. Yeah.
Lucky.
And
Very
next
nice.
time I'm invited on the podcast, I want to come to your house because I'm obsessed with your house.
Yes, we
I
should
want to
do another
snoop.
one and you can come hang out. Oh, and you can make a cocktail for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do that. That would be so fun.
No, better than that. I like it so much better. I will just talk you through it and I'll be like with you and I'll be explaining it to you and then you can do it so that
Okay.
you can learn. But then
Okay.
I'll be like, oh, okay, now pour an ounce and a half of this, and like we can do it that way. I mean, I can do it with you, but like that's more fun.
I like that. I like learning new skills too, so I'm down for that.
I'll show you all the technique.
Perfect. Well, my friend,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on the
Thank you
podcast,
so
being
much.
my first guest ever. I think
First,
this was like the perfect way just for me to kind of start this off because being with somebody that I feel like super comfortable with and your personality is just so bubbly and fun and I just love you as a person. So
hi.
thanks for being here. And oh yeah, one more thing. What's your other Instagram, your personal
Oh
page?
God. Okay.
You can talk about it on
I have two. They're both not that serious. I have one that it's just become indoor and outdoor content. I don't know how it's become that way, but I have one called Salt Fae.
there. So SALT.FAE, right?
Yes, yes, correct. And then the other one, that's the outdoorsy one, cold plunges. It's honestly just mostly cold plunges at this point. And then the other one is Spirited Her Way, which is more, it's the cocktails. That one is, I think, more connected just to work. Like that one is a little bit more behind the scenes for what I do professionally. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why I split them up. I don't recommend it. If you're thinking about doing another Instagram in your life, don't do two. Yeah, and I just think like maybe if you're like maybe if you're a business and you're scaling like da 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 da, we can have that conversation separately. But like I don't advise doing two for personal stuff. You just like forget to like
Yeah,
manage two. It just means you're not managing either one. It's really what it is. You're
that's
just
fair.
yeah.
It's hard. It's hard out there.
It's so hard to post all my little pictures.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we should get together soon and go for a cold
Yeah,
plunge. I want to
go for a
start my
cold plunge, have
season
a
off
cocktail.
earlier than last year, so let's do it. And
Yeah.
thanks again for coming on the
Thank
podcast.
you. This was
Being
so
my first
fun.
guest ever. You're the best.
Oh, love it.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.